Central Ohio Spine and Joint. I wanted to go over a cool case with you today. We got Sam with us. Sam is a college baseball player. He's a pitcher, and he came in to see us. He's having a little bit of medial elbow tightness, especially after he throws. So we've already taken him through the examination process. Obviously with something like elbow pain, we want to look at kind of the entire chain. So we looked at wrist, we looked at shoulder, neck, thoracic spine. In his case, we're going to talk a little bit about the shoulder today. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have Sam lay flat on his back. I want to show you guys a couple things with the shoulder here. So if you're familiar with throwers, we know that we should have an arc of 180 degrees of external and internal rotation. So if we look at Sam's rotation here, we hold the shoulder in a neutral position and we look at external rotation. We see that he's got a good range of external rotation here. But when we take it back into internal rotation, we see that Sam is a little blocked on internal rotation. So again, if we're trying to get that 180 degrees, we see this is kind of the starting point. We come back, we'd like to see him get down to about this point, but as you can see when we take him down, he starts to get more movement from the scapula, not the shoulder itself. And this is his internal rotation right here. So it's a very common thing that we see within throwers. Another test that we can do to look at it is looking at an abduction test. So we stabilize the scapula, we bring his arm across, and we'd like to see it get past 90 degrees here without raising of the scapula. So if we block him down, you can see he gets to about that point right there. So a common thing we see in throwers is when you have this reduced range of internal rotation is we look at the posterior capsule. Posterior capsule is a fibrous band that holds the humerus into the socket, and it's a very common thing that we see within throwers. Probably the most common way to treat that from what we see is what's called the sleeper stretch. So go on your side here in a sleeper stretch position. So within this sleeper position, what you're doing is you're forcing the arm into internal rotation. The reason that we actually don't use this stretch within our clinic is, stand up for me one time, is if you look at that position, essentially when he's on his side, is this is actually an impingement position that we test the labrum in when we're doing an orthopedic test. So we don't like to jam that shoulder into internal rotation like this. So what we're going to do today is we're going to show you a position that you can start to stretch that posterior capsule out, which will allow you to have greater internal rotation. So what we're going to use here, come on around here, is we're going to use this DNS-inspired position where we're essentially stacked up on this bottom shoulder. Okay. And what we're going to do from this position is we're going to nice and easy start to roll over the shoulder and then roll back, roll over the shoulder. If you come around the back here, you can see when we're rolling all the way over the shoulder here, we're getting a really nice elongation and stretch on these fibers of the posterior rotator cuff as well as the posterior capsule. So it's nice and controlled, rolling over and rolling back. Okay. And then one more I'd like to show you here. So come on around, flip around so you're facing me. Head down here on your elbow. So another one that we use here in the clinic, and this one's a little bit better if you have someone helping you with the position. It's kind of tough to do it on your own. But from this position, what we're going to do is we're actually going to lay the shoulder back. And again, what you can see is we're getting a nice elongation, nice stretch on the posterior capsule. Lay back, bring it forward, lay back, forward, one more. Okay, back flat on your back. And then always after we go through these stretches, we want to retest. And again, we only did a few stretches there, but what we would want to see would be an increased range in that internal rotation without the shoulder coming up, blocking the shoulder, providing that internal rotation. Go ahead and sit up one more time. So one more thing I want to mention, when we talk about the posterior capsule, like I mentioned, posterior capsule is extremely common in these overhead athletes, is we just usually want to go in and stretch as much as we can out of that tissue. When in fact, the reason that the posterior capsule becomes tight is that is almost the body's way of trying to stabilize the shoulder. So when you're looking at tight posterior capsule, you want to make sure you're really evaluating that scapular-thoracic region and making sure you have really good stability in this area. A lot of times if you do nothing but provide better stability and a better anchoring point for the shoulder through that area, you're gonna get some release of the posterior capsule. So you can make the argument that if we're just sitting there stretching that posterior capsule, we're actually taking away the body's natural stabilizing system of the shoulder itself. So in order to increase this range of motion, provide a better anchoring point by working on that scapular-thoracic stability. So I hope you guys enjoyed the information. If you have any questions, make sure to comment below. Shoot us an email. We'd love to answer anything. We'll be back with a couple more exercises on Sam in the next couple days, show you some of the stabilizing exercises we're going to use for him, as well as some of the manual therapy for his medial elbow. So thanks, guys.